Story RH, the podcast that makes a long story short.
Welcome to all.
History is made of stories.
In this episode, we'll be talking about the key features of HR information systems.
A lot of people put the cart before the horse. They start with the tool instead of first thinking about its purpose. There are no good or bad tools. It's all about using the right tools for the right job.
But we're not talking about one tool here. We're talking about a whole system. And, like any system, a human resources information system has a number of specific features that extend beyond the individual properties of its component parts. So, what are they? What's the story?
The first key feature of a human resources information system is its level of integration. Is it a Swiss Army knife that incorporates every single HR process? Or is it a collection of separate software applications, each handling a specific process?
The first example is what we call an integrated HRIS. It gives you everything in a single software application. The second example is what we call a best-of-breed HRIS, which involves several different applications running separately as part of the system.
In the first example, you can choose between an integrated system in the shape of an ERP with an HR module, or an integrated HR software application that meets all HR requirements. That includes products like ADP, HR Access, and Seged Metaphor.
In the second example, you can choose a specialized solution for each specific process. That's what we call a best-of-breed system.
Careful though, things aren't black and white. You can choose an integrated system for administrative tasks like payroll and time management. And you can choose a different integrated system to cover processes like interviews, talent, etc. That gives you a sort of hybrid solution.
The second key feature of an HRIS is the flexibility of the model. Do the separate solutions impose their own model, leaving it up to HR processes to adapt to that model? Or does the system use flexible solutions that can easily adapt to any HR process?
It's hard to overstate the importance of this feature. Every HR department would like to have its own bespoke solution, but that can quickly bump up costs, which creates a bit of a dilemma when it comes to striking a balance between a standardized solution that promotes productivity and one that gives you enough flexibility to adapt.
Not all solutions are made equal in meeting these needs. Some offer seamless configuration, others less so.
There are 3 ways to adapt to specific requirements. 1. They're already covered by the software and it's just a matter of checking a box. 2. They involve significant changes to the software and an in-depth understanding of the application in question. And 3. The software is simply unable to meet those requirements. The only option is a separate, custom build.
The third key feature of HR information systems is their degree of openness. Can the system easily incorporate a third-party program? Is it open or does it operate in a vacuum?
That often comes down to the barriers to entry put in place by publishers to maintain some sort of proprietary control over their software. The cultural differences between open and closed source models.
Closed systems have their own benefits because they are, by definition, more compatible, meaning they're more likely to be more seamless.
But they give clients less room to maneuver, especially when they have to call in accredited consultants to configure the system, which doesn't come cheap.
The fourth key feature is the issue of centralization and decentralization. Some systems are designed to favor one or the other.
These concepts often come down to who has control.
Take the example of annual appraisals. A centralized system will force all subsidiaries to follow the same rules, with the same start and end date and the same sheet to be filled out. Whereas a decentralized system will give subsidiaries the freedom to handle the process any way they want.
And even that's not a black and white issue. Some solutions fall somewhere in between, with a number of core requirements coupled with more flexible options, giving each business unit the flexibility it needs for some tasks.
To recap, the 4 key features of an HRIS include the level of integration, the flexibility of the model, the degree of openness, and the centralized nature of the system. Not forgetting, of course, that none of these features are set in stone. Is that right?
Exactly right. Way to make a long story short. Story RH, the podcast that makes a long story short.